Hello Dungeon Delvers and fellow DMs, and welcome back to the DM's Den. The next 6 videos are going to be explaining and clarifying understanding on specific attributes and the skills associated with them. For this video, we're going to start with the easy one, strength. There's only one skill associated with strength, athletics. Now, you can have base strength checks on your own, and you can have as athletics checks. A strength check would be a representation of your attempt to push, pull, wrench an object out from the hands of another creature. You'll have a contested strength check. Your ability to squeeze through an opening that you are clearly too big for. It requires that brute, raw, physical power. You want to stop a gate, lift a gate, force a door open, break someone's bonds, break your own bonds, literally rip yourself out of something, break a grapple. These are all strength checks. Athletics is a little bit more specific. Athletics is your ability to continue climbing, jump really far, jump a very long distance that you're not used to, your ability to swim, and to deal with problems that come up when doing those activities. So someone grabs onto your foot while you're climbing. You have an athletics check to see if you're able to use your strength and use your ability, your athletic ability, to continue forward or kick them off and not lose your grip. If a creature is trying to drag you underwater or push you down, you have an athletics check to try and swim and survive and get the air that you need, or get away from them or kick them away. Other times that strength comes up is when you're wielding a melee weapon. Melee being close range. You're swinging a sword, you're swinging a spear, you are swinging an axe. You use your strength modifier to add on to the attack and the damage roll. So the stronger you are, usually the more effective you are in melee. Something else that doesn't come up nearly as much as an athletics check or a common strength check, but is still just as important, is that of carrying capacity. The idea of encumbrance. You use your strength to figure out your encumbrance. Take your strength score, not modifier, score, multiply it by 15. And that is your carrying capacity. So, the higher your strength score, the more stuff you can carry, the more people you might be able to carry. If someone doesn't weigh a lot, then you can figure out your carrying capacity and be like, I can carry them, or they're too heavy, that kind of thing. Encumbrance is something that is not always honored. The idea that you as adventurers can just carry whatever you want can add to the feeling of, I've got all this loot, isn't that awesome? But it can sometimes break the game. If you've got a person who doesn't have the carrying capacity that they really would need in order to haul around 4 great swords, as well as all their other traveling gear, they are encumbered. And when you're encumbered, bad stuff can happen. Now, it should be noted that encumbrance is a variant rule. It doesn't mean everybody has to follow it, but I keep it in the back of my mind just in case if the PCs get a little too loot crazy. After enough time, I'm going to be able to say, you can't carry around 4 sets of plate mail. It's just, where does it go? Unless you have a bag of holding. And in terms of lower level characters, they don't have a bag of holding unless they were really, really, really lucky in their loot rolls, which is probably not going to happen. So you have to be a little stringent on the idea. Don't wander too far away from the realm of possibility, the realm of reality. So you can choose to use this variant if you want. You can doctor pieces of it. That's all fine. But let's just talk about it anyway. So according to the variant rule of encumbrance, if you are carrying 5 times, if you're carrying weight in excess of 5 times your strength score, your speed drops by 10 feet. Not too bad, but you're considered encumbered. You move a little bit slower because you're carrying so much. If you are carrying in excess of 10 times your strength score, not the strength modifier, the strength score, your speed drops by 20 feet, and you have disadvantage on strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws because you're carrying so much dang stuff. If you start to enact this variant rule, you may want to put a different cap on some of those, but it's still something to keep in mind. You want to make sure that even your half-orc barbarian, even my Grignor, can't just haul around a literal sleigh full of stuff and not be encumbered. It just doesn't make sense. Even in this fantasy world, it just doesn't work, and it's not particularly fair. Not going by the variant rule, when it comes to lifting and carrying things, it's 15 multiplied by your strength score. Usually that weight, that collective weight, is high enough that most players that would normally be carrying a lot of heavy gear usually don't have to worry about it. But it is something to keep in mind. If someone's carrying around 3 sets of plate mail, full plate mail, you may just want to start checking that. Because that gets a little bit much. They might be a little OP if you're not keeping a subtle check, just a small check on that. When it comes to pushing, dragging, or lifting things, you can do any of those at the cost of your speed dropping to 5 feet no matter what. But the weight that you can push, drag, or lift can be up to 30 times, or double your carrying capacity, 30 times your strength score. That can be pretty high up there, but remember, your speed always drops to 5 feet regardless of that score. It just means you can always push quite a bit, but your speed drops from 30, 35, 25 to 5, and that's it. And finally, when it comes to the size and strength relationship, everything is considered medium as written. But if you go up or down a size category, you will either double or halve your carrying capacity, overall carrying capacity. So you calculate everything as a medium creature, and then you double it or you halve it, depending on the size category that you are in, because larger creatures will be able to move more than smaller creatures. But the baseline is medium, and then we go up or down depending on the size category that you're in. And that covers strength. Not too bad, everybody. Just something to remember. It's your raw physical power. And as long as you remember that, it's pretty easy to understand how this can all work. If you can imagine yourself doing the action physically by pushing or pulling, it's going to be a strength check. That's it. Anywho, I hope this was helpful. If it was, make sure you like that video, maybe subscribe to the channel for more content, maybe share the video so we get more exposure, more advertisement, always a good thing. And please, check out the Patreon page. The more support that we get, the more content we can put out on a consistent basis. Have an awesome day. Please, continue to game on, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.